Hi Tubies, here's Alexander and welcome to another video. As you can see, I have gotten a little delivery from Ameralabs, and they were so kind to send me their three different resin, 3D printer resin variants. The TGM7 in white, then the AMD3 in gray, and the XVN50 in black. So these resins have all different kinds of properties, and well, in this video I will test their properties and show you what the difference is between them, and also compare that to the Anycubic HD resin in gray you see there on the right side. Well, to keep it short and simply, the TGM7 is basically a very flexible resin. I have shown you that before in videos of mine, where you can bend weapons from printed miniatures like almost 90 degrees without breaking them. The AMD3 is supposed to be a high detail resin. It's, I bet, on the same level as the Anycubic HD, but we will see about that. So it's supposed to, well, bring out the very finest details in miniatures, but on the downside it will be brittle, I guess. And then we have the XVN50, the versatile engineering resin. It is supposed to be a very tough resin, designed for, well, works of mechanics and stuff, so gears and things for, well, working purposes. So I will print these out in, well, I have some things, some test prints here from Ameralabs and the cones of calibration, and I will also print from Station Forge the cavalry from their Grimguard range. And we will compare those printed miniatures then. So, be right back in a second. So, I'm back here at my painting desk, and well, what do we have here? So this here's the printed variant from the TGM7. Then we have here the black variant. This is the XVN50 that I've printed, and well, this gray here, this is the Anycubic HD variant, and last but not least, I have here the variants from the AMD3. That's the one that we will start with. So first of all, let's have a look at the Ameralabs test print. So what this tells us is are a few different things. So for example, you have here this little squares at the bottom. Let's zoom in there a little bit more. And the sharper those are printed, the better the detail of the resin. So I used for all the resins the recommended setting. So for this AMD3, I used the 2 seconds recommended exposure time. That was the word that I was looking for. And then you have here the rows of these little cones, and as you can see here, we managed to completely print 4 rows entirely, and even on row 5 we barely get these hairs, but well, if I look close enough, well, those look printed. They are very, very tiny, and let's see if I can separate them. Yeah, there you can see it. It is printed. So with this resin, you can print very, very, very fine details, even up to the 5th row here. So for calibration purposes, here this is the test print from the Table Flip Foundry. As we can see here, the 2 seconds exposure time was enough to make all the successes here, with a thick, medium, and then thinner and thinner, and this is also printed. And as we can see here at the failure state, we could have even lowered the exposure time even more. So in the perfect setting, these 4 cones wouldn't have been printed. Here you can see the 5th one is only partially printed. That means we could lower the exposure time by 0.1, 2, 3, 4, 5 seconds even. So roughly a 1.5 second exposure could have been enough for this resin, and we could exploit even more details with this resin. So on the detail department, the AMD3 is leading the charge here, right out of the gate. So, but let's see how the resin overall is well performing in the durability department. Well, details aside, it doesn't matter if your miniature slams to the ground and it shatters to a million pieces. So we have here now spear, arm, and torso, and here we have the horse. It's all nice and printed. And let's start with this base here. How good the supports are removable. So let's do it like that. A little twisting and turning, yeah. So as you can see, the brittleness of this resin shows here directly, as well, it didn't leave clean cuts. It's broke off really and splintered a little bit. So let's see how this stuff is flexible. Oh, well, these things are still not 100% cured, but there was the break point. But a 90-degree bend definitely holds up, even more bend than that. So it is a very tough resin. There you can see it leaves a clear break. Yeah. So that's so much for the detail and the bend under not completely cured. I will be back in a second. I will cure now the last parts, and we will see how they fare then. Okay, now I'm back after the curing, and let's see how the supports remove now. And as you can see, it is immediately broken off here. And let's see how the bending still works. 90%. And there it breaks. So the toughness is, I guess, still the same, roundish. And it leaves the same rip marks. Well, maybe I should have put those into hot water. I will leave these parts here now alone. And we will do a final test with each of the resins with hot water with those. Why don't we? So, up to the next resin. So, here we have now the resin from Anycubic, the HD variant. I went with a recommended 2.5 seconds curing time with this one. And here you can see I have a failed print. But don't worry, this is not a mistake of the resin. This is actually a mistake from my printer. I had recently a mishap with my printer, and it got flooded with resin, and well, the LCD screen had a little bit of leftover resin film on there, and this is the result. It didn't cure properly at this stage. But nevertheless, the rest of the print is actually absolutely fine, as you can see here. So nothing to worry about here on this end. So right from the get-go, it also leaves really crisp prints, the Anycubic, and as we can see here, it ripped apart after after it was dry here, and it has basically the same state as the AMD3 in the failure department. But this here, that the cones here ripped apart after well, just after printing and leaving it to dry like that, without the final curing, leaves something to worry about. So it might be a little bit more brittle. So let's have a look at the Ameralabs printing stage here. So here the squares at the bottom are nice and crisp. Also here all the lines have printed fine. And as we can see here, the fifth row didn't 100% print. They're barely there, halfway printed, but it printed up to the fourth row. So nevertheless, the detail is nice and snug. And here is another snap, as you can see here. Or is it? Is that a snap? Yeah, it seems like that. So that actually never happened to me before. Quite curious. So how does this fare here? So it leaves the same break marks behind like the AMD3. And let's see the bending. Same bending capability as the AMD3. Let's push it a little bit further, and still doesn't snap. There it snaps. So it seems it's a little bit more bendy than the AMD3. But, well, I will give this now a final cure and tell you how it's done then. Okay, now we are here back after the final cure. And let's see how it behaves now. So, bend test again. It's still bendy. Still the same. So even after the final cure, it's still the same in the bending department. Let's remove the supports. So, and as before, it leaves bite marks here and there. So you definitely have to use hot water for this as well. Yeah, we will come back to the rest of the Mini with the hot bath treatment in the end. So, next resin. So, the next one on our list is the XVN50, the versatile engineering resin. Let's see what we have here. So again, I had a little misprint here, but again, this is part of my printer problem, not something that the resin is the culprit here. So here we have the gap that the printer left, but the rest of the print looks interesting. So as you can see directly here, the print looks a little bit gritty. Very interesting indeed. So let's have a look at the test results here, the test prints. So the recommended time was 3 seconds for this one here, and the success cones are all successfully printed. And again, a similar situation here on the failure state. This one partially printed, and the other ones are still attached, so you could go a little bit lower with that to about 2.5 seconds instead of 3. But from the detail perspective here, it looks a little bit washed out. But let's have a look at this here, this cones. So the squares are all printed, but this here on top looks a little bit rougher. There are parts missing. So then we have here the 5th row is not printed at all, and the 4th row has problems. The 4th row is very thin and bent to the side. So this resin is definitely not so good for the detail purposes. Yeah. So let's have a look how this resin behaves. Right off the get-go, it takes way more force to rip the supports off. Yeah, and let's see how the bending is. It's still bendable. Yeah, and it doesn't break. You see? It doesn't want to break at all. I'm pressing here. So this is definitely a very tough resin. See? Well, it took the shape here, but yeah. I give this now again a final cure and see how the rest of the cones behave. Be right back. So this part is now finally cured, and let's see how it bends now. Still won't break, so no change there. And ripping apart the supports is even harder now. So the tensile strength of this resin is quite tough, quite sturdy. See? With the other one, the AMD3, I broke it at this point. This won't break at all, no matter what I try. This is a very, very, very sturdy resin. So if you want to have something that does not break, no matter the outcome, then use this resin, definitely. So, like before, we will use the hot bath method for the spear here, and we will move on to the last resin now. And we come to the final contestant. This is the TGM7 Tabletop Gaming. This one I have already shown you in previous videos. Like before, we had here a misprint because of resin leftovers on my LCD screen, so this has nothing to do with the resin itself. Overall, the print is nice. The detail looks fine. So it's hard to see with the clear white, the bright white resin, but let's have a look at the test prints, shall we? So this here is the success side of things. As usual, it printed well. And here on the failure state, we have a very interesting outcome here with this bendy thing here. Like before, partial print on this side, and then partial failure, and then correct. That means we could lower the exposure time even more. This was here printed with an exposure time of 2.5 seconds. We could have gone down to 2 seconds. But nevertheless, it was a successful print. If you see here little grayish bits, that were just leftovers of other resin in there, but it shouldn't overall affect the print at all. So let's see here. It's hard to see, but I think the squares are a little bit off, a little bit overexposed. Then the lines here, how to tell? Let's look at these cones here, and we can clearly see 4 rows have printed, but the 5th one is not very well represented. There is a little bit of the 5th row, but just barely. So it's a little bit lacking in the detail department compared to the AMD3 and the Anycubic HD. But overall the print is fine. And let's see how the toughness is going. So let's start with a... Okay, Houston, we have a problem. So the tensile strength of this one is out of the park, and the resin itself is still extremely soft. So it won't rip apart. Let's see how it fares after final curing. Be right back. Okay, the final curing has occurred, and let's see. Now it is removable, but still tough. Quite tough to remove. And it leaves bite marks behind. Yeah, I will not rip the rest off right now. I will wait for the warm water bath for that. So, next stage, warm water. Okay, welcome to the final boss level. Now with steaming hot water. So, this should be enough. Let's dunk it in there. So, this again here is the AMD3. And let's see how good the supports are to be removed. And, well, hot. Goes very easy. Ta-da! So, let's see if we have now any marks, and doesn't seem that way, that we have too much in the way of marks. A little bit down there. But overall, it's a good result. So, AMD3, steaming hot water treatment, check. So, let's move on with number 2. This here is the Anycubic HD. Bloop. Let's leave it in there for a few seconds and then pull it out. And let's see how it fares. Oh, this one goes very easy. Yeah, super easy removal. And again, pockmark check. There we have a little bit, but nothing too bad. So the Anycubic HD also checks out. Okay, next, this is here the black one. This was the XVN50 Versatile Engineering. So let's get that water back steaming. Oh, whoop. Let's dunk it in there. Let it in there for a few seconds. And get it out. And let's test. Now it works with ripping apart, but it's a little bit tougher than the other two. But we managed in the end. Okay, no broken details as far as I can see. And yeah, looks good so far. I can't see much in the way of bookmarks. Yeah, well, that's how the XVN50 worked. Horse number 3. And now, last but not least, the final contestant. This is the TGM7. Tabletop Gaming White. And while this is dunking in there, a small message from our sponsor. That's the reason I have the resin in the first place. He wants you to know that you should check out their Facebook page because it is brand new. So down there in the video description, you'll find a link to the Ameralabs Facebook page. And yeah, this one is a tough one to get off. So if you want information about the resins and stuff like that, go check out their Facebook page. So this is very hard to remove, as you can see. It almost won't budge. Tough gaming resin has its name not without reason. But in the end we got there. So let's see how it looks in the end. There we have some leftovers here and there, but overall I can see not much of a problem. So as we can tell, with all the resins, if you want to have a clean removal process, then always use the hot water treatment and you are fine. Yeah, overall it looks very good. Again, here this misprint here has nothing to do with the resin. This is a problem with my 3D printer. I noticed it at the end of the third print run, when the issue was with the base here, with a black base. This one here. There I could clearly see it, that I had a problem. With the other two on the horses here and here, I didn't notice it because, well, there were all the rafts around it, and I actually looked at them from this side, so I didn't notice it at first. But, well, now the problem is solved. Yeah, that's it for my review for the three resins from Ameralabs versus the Anycubic. Here we have, again, the horses from the 4 contestants. Let's compare them again side by side when they're a little bit drier. This is here the XVN50 versus the TGM7. And here we have now in the light gray department the AMD3, and in the dark gray department the Anycubic HD. So I hope this gives you a little bit of insight how different resins behave and how they function. One thing that I didn't test right now is a mixture out of those 4 resins, or maybe 2 resins. Maybe this I will do in a later date. But I think this is enough scientific experimentation with resins for today. I hope you liked this video and give me a thumbs up. And I would appreciate it if you would follow me here. You can also find me on Instagram with YT_girlpainting. Yeah, sometimes you find me in chat rooms on Twitch as girl painting, or like usual here on YouTube on my next video. Until then, bye, your Alexandra.